Hiya, and what I want to do today is just talk really quickly about this duplicate content. Okay, so what is it exactly? Well, according to Google, duplicate content generally refers to substantive blocks of content within or across domains that either completely match other content or else they are appreciably similar. Okay, and that's according to Google. So, what do they mean? Well, if they completely match, then what Google means is that that's identical content. So you might have two URLs and they're both pointing to the same page. So you might have mydomain.com, which is just your home page, but it's also, you can get there by typing in mydomain.com/index.html. That's identical. Okay, two URLs, identical content. Appreciably similar just means that, two pieces of content, but one isn't any really different to the other one. It's not offering anything new. So for us who are into article marketing, if you've written an article and then you've spun it 100 times, or you've submitted it to various article directories with very little change in there, you might have written an article called Tips to Improve Your Article Writing, and then when you've spun it, it ends up being called Improve Your Article Writing with These Tips. That's fairly appreciably similar content. Okay, so as far as Google's concerned, that's duplicate content. Okay, and then you move on to the penalty myth. Is there a penalty for having this duplicate content? And what Google says is, there is no duplicate content penalty, but there is a filter, which means that when the keyword is typed in, Google's going to take one of those pieces of content to show in the listings. So all of them aren't going to show up, and that makes sense. You don't want 10 articles all the same, or 10 videos all the same, or 10 sites all of the same. You don't want that showing up in the listings. So Google will filter the information and they will only show one piece of content within the listings. Okay, all of them will be indexed. You've still got all of those backlinks, but only one is going to be listed. One's going to show up in the SERPs. The rest of them are going to go into the supplemental index, and that's where the searcher will see we've omitted some results very similar, and you can repeat the search to show those. Well, obviously, your search is not going to do it. Supplemental is not good. So the reality is, what Google says, that if you are using duplicate content and the intent is to, deceive or manipulate the rankings in some way, then, they will take appropriate actions for indexing and ranking your site. Okay, so you can work out pretty much for yourself, what appropriate adjustments they're going to make. Personally, I think it's fairly safe to assume that, if they're putting your duplicated content into the supplemental index, the backlinks aren't really going to count for very much. Okay, you might consider that a penalty. They might call it a filter, but that's what they say. Okay, they will make appropriate adjustments if you're deliberately trying to deceive them by using or submitting duplicate content. The fact is, only one is going to show up. Okay, so you get one listing in the SERPs. That means that you've got one chance with your article to grab the searcher. It doesn't matter how many of your articles are indexed, it doesn't matter how many times you've submitted it. If it's duplicated, then there's only one version is going to show up. Okay, so you've got one chance to grab that searcher, unless of course you've made your article into something different. You're offering that information in a diverse way, so it's not duplicated content. Okay, you can still give the same information, but if you offer it in a video or you offer it as an audio or a PDF, it's a blog post, it's a press release, you know, then that's not duplicate content, totally different. And that's it. Okay, put it to rest.